Hello, guys. Welcome to the third episode of Hot Takes Cold Truths. Today, we'll be talking about our offseason, particularly Mike Brown as our new head coach. Also, we got Jordan Clarkson and Yabusele from free agency. And yes, so we're going to dive into that. First, I'd like to talk about Mike Brown, right? People are like, oh, we should have kept Tibbs. If that's what we're going to get, Mike Brown isn't really an upgrade. I can see what you mean in regards of like Tibbs having the chemistry with the guys, but there was no adjustments, right? There was no showing that he would do something different. And we saw that best this playoffs where he did it a little too late against the Indiana Pacers. So we needed to move on. Now, is Mike Brown the answer? Who knows, right? He might be, he might not be. But I do think Mike Brown is a good decision, and this is why. From 2000 to about 2003, he was assistant coach to the San Antonio Spurs. Who's the coach of the San Antonio Spurs at the time? One of the greatest coaches, Coach Pop. And he saw what it was to win a chip under Coach Pop. So he has the mentality already. And that's not the first time. He also was the assistant coach under Steve Kerr and actually was the head coach, I think, for a couple games or a good couple series when Steve Kerr was out for the Golden State Warriors. And I believe he was there in their championship season. He also played with, well, not played with, but coached the Cleveland Cavaliers when they had LeBron, and he took them to the finals. My point is, he has experience with going into the playoffs. Then he took what I think, I know people are going to be like, oh, they had De'Aaron Fox, they had Sabonis, they had Malik Monk. To me, the Sacramento Kings was, their talent wasn't all that great. When you had people in the West like the Nuggets, the Thunder, Dallas Mavericks, the Lakers at the time, Golden State Warriors. I mean, you get my point. I named 5 other teams that to me were better than the Sacramento Kings. And that I believe showed up in the standings as well. You're most likely not going to make a deep playoff run. In the West, it's harder to make a deep playoff run. Now, the East is usually the top 3 or 4 that you don't want to bump into. And so I think they were under talented compared to others in the West. I think also he gave them the best chance they had. He turned a team that to me was under talented and made them the number 1 offense. That's beautiful. 3rd in the West. That's amazing. And then if you take that 3rd in the West, I think that's 5th in the East that year, which would mean I think they either match up against the Cleveland Cavaliers or the Pacers or the Bucks, whatever. And I think a Sacramento that year could have taken on a Bucks team, could have taken on an Indiana Pacers team. It would have been probably a long series, but I think they could have probably won that under Mike Brown. I know we're taking a team and putting them on an opposite conference, and that's not logical. But I'm just trying to get you guys to think a different perspective on this. On like, oh, he didn't succeed with the Sacramento Kings. Coach of the year, number 1 offense, and to me with less talent than most of the teams in the West. Then you take that, right? You take that guy who was able to do that and place him on a team like the New York Knicks with Brunson, OG, McCall, Cat, Mitch, Jordan Clarkson, Yabusele, McBride, Josh Hart. And now suddenly, now it's like he might surprise you. He might do what he's been doing with like that year with Cleveland, take him to the finals. He might be able to do what he did as assistant coach because we see what he can do when he has talent. When he has talent, he's able to push them. Look what he did with no talent, right? Not no talent, minimum talent. Sacramento Kings minimum talent made them number 1 offense. You take him with good talent, we're probably offensively, I think we're going to be doing great. And then you got De'Aaron Fox, who to me, not saying that he's the same as Brunson, no. But that 1-2 punch of De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis, I think he can implement that with Brunson and Cat. And I think it will be great with those two. Then you mix in an OG, a McCall, or a Mitch, it gets even better. So that's that with Mike Brown. I feel like, you know, his resume speaks for himself. I'm not going to sit here and say that he's going to win us the finals and we're going to go all the way and we're going to beat whoever comes out in the West. No. Because one, I'd like to see what he does with this team defensively with our defensive flaws. And two, I like to see just how the team itself, with the addition of Jordan Clarkson, with the addition of Yabusele, implements the bench. What's his starting lineup going to look like? What's the bench going to look like? What's the minutes, the rotations? I need to see that before I'm able to be like, oh, yeah, he's going to do it. But based off his resume, what I'm trying to say is he's very well capable of doing it. Whereas Tibbs, yeah, he had Derrick Rose. He did his things with the Timberwolves. But he had this non-bench playing mindset, which can work on some teams. I honestly think so. I think you get a good team that can play offense and defense, both sides of the floor, in the starting five with like maybe one or two people on the bench. I think you can do what Tibbs does if you can find a team that has that. But the Knicks aren't that right now. And so I think that's why we had to get rid of Tibbs, and that's why Mike Brown is a great coach to put in. As far as the bench unit and the people that we brought in, Jordan Clarkson, I feel like that was a good addition. Jordan Clarkson is, let me see here. Last year he averaged 16 points? I think, yeah, 16 points, 40% field goal percentage, and 36.2 3-point percentage, 3.2 rebounds per game, and 3.7 assists per game. And that's good to me. As a bench player, I mean, he played 26 minutes per game, but I don't know how Mike Brown's going to do it. Is he going to be playing him 26? I don't know. But as a six man, I think that we can't say no to that. That was beautiful. And the money that we paid him, we got a 16-point per game person for a vet minimum contract, 40% shooting, and 36.2 vet minimum. That's a steal. Yes, he doesn't play defense. We needed scoring. We also got Yabusele. I hope I'm not butchering the name. My bad if I am, my guy. Welcome to the New York Knicks. He played 70 games last year. He got 11 points, 50% field goal percentage, 38% 3-point percentage, 5.6 rebounds, and 2.1 assists. We don't need him to come in and be a dominant rebounder, right? Because we got Mitch for that. Cat could get rebounds. OG could get rebounds. Mikal could get rebounds. And then if Josh Hart comes off the bench, Josh Hart could get rebounds as well. So rebounding, we're looking good. What we need from him is more of that. Give OG time to rest. Score up the bench. Be that big man charging in. And just bang it on him. Or that 38% 3-point percentage. Now, people might say, oh, he was on the 76ers. That was a throwaway season for the 76ers. It doesn't mean much. To me, yes, you can say that. And it might be valid. But my counter argument to that is you can give anyone that opportunity, but not everyone's going to do that with that opportunity. I mean, look at Quentin Grimes. He went off with that opportunity. You give that to someone else, maybe he doesn't do the same thing as what Quentin Grimes was able to do. Maybe he doesn't do the same thing as what Yabusele was able to do. I'm not going to just throw away these stats from the 76ers season that he had just because the 76ers was having a garbage throwaway season due to, Embiid, Maxey, and Paul George being out. I'm just going to sit here, enjoy those, take that, and say he's capable of doing this, so we need to use him in the way he's capable to be, used. That brings me to the bench, right? The minutes, the rotations. A big thing that we're going to have to deal with is how do we get Kolek minutes? We need Kolek. He gets you in your spots. And I think we need to develop him where he's able to get into his own spots or shoot better, defend better, whatever, but that takes development. Yes, you can say he needs to work on himself during the offseason, but he also needs time. There's no better way to get ready for the game by playing the game itself. And so I think we need to play Kolek. That is very, very key to our success because he can run that bench. Even if, there was an injury to Brunson or something, I feel like he can help carry the load until Brunson gets back. And then Pacome Dadier, if we can get him to be either a defender or a nice shooter, we can even give Mikal Bridges some rest. Mikal Bridges or OG rest. When they get rest, we already see what they can do when they play 48 minutes per game. Listen, I wasn't a minutes police person, but when they were playing and, apparently were fatigued and all that, it didn't seem like they were fatigued. They looked like they were conditioned well, ready to lock down on that defense and all that stuff. So I'm just imagining if Mike Brown allows them to get some rest and all that stuff, what does that mean for their defensive and offensive rating? Does that mean it goes up? Does OG shoot better? Does Mikal shoot better? Do they defend better? And if they do, that's a scary Knicks team right there. So I think the key to our success is our bench and developing our rookies. We know what Jordan Clarkson could do. We know what OG, Macau, Brunson, Cat, and Mitch can do. Josh Hart can do. Let's see what Kolick can do. Let's see what Huck Porty can do. Don't be afraid to start Mitch. If you need a backup center, don't put Yabusele. Put my son Huck Porty. We see what he can do. We seen his dominant games. You need a substitution for Mitch, Huck Porty. You need a substitution for let's say Cat, Yabusele. You need a substitution for OG, Pacome Dadier. You need a substitution for Macau Bridges, Jordan Clarkson, or Deuce McBride. You need a substitution for Brunson, McBride, or Kolick. That's how it should be. And if we're gonna pick up anybody that we had, to me, it would have to be either Shamit or Delon Wright, because Shamit's 3-point shooting, that quick release, I would love to have him back. And Delon Wright's defense and the little things that he does. Delon Wright, I think, does a lot of the little things that helps teams win. We saw it in the playoffs. We saw it at the end of the season when Brunson was out. I started seeing more from my guy Delon Wright, and he showed me. So if we're talking about getting someone from what we already had, Delon Wright or Shamit, if we're talking about going out and getting someone else, McDermott, that's a nice bench piece right there. Take him from the Sacramento Kings. Look, we take Mike Brown and Doug. What's up? No, but okay. As you can see, I want. I think we still need a small forward or something off the bench. Another one. You can't go wrong with the amount you have. And I feel like we need another of that off the bench. If we get 3-point shooting off the bench as well, that'll be great. But that's what I'm feeling, y'all. Let me know in the comments below what you feeling. Who would you want to target at free agency? Who would you give a spot to? Like, hey, listen, we got one more spot. It's going to be for you. Comment below what you think, guys. Thank you guys for watching the video. Peace.